Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ring Ramble podcast. My name is V,
My name's Brad.
and today we're going to be talking about our favorite female wrestlers, both favorite female wrestlers of all time and favorite current roster females. We didn't want to do like them separately just because I feel like primarily when both of us talk about wrestlers that we like a lot, it tends to usually be the men. So I just wanted the whole separate thing for just the girls, and we're just going to do our top 3. So I'm going to start off, though, today. So my first favorite female wrestler of all time is Asuka. I believe that she's, like, amazing all around. This is a favorite that basically also dominated NXT similarly to how Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, people I've mentioned before that are my favorites, were NXT champions, and primarily their best work has been in NXT, which is something I feel like applies to Asuka. She is the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion of 522 days, and she had a famous undefeated streak of 914 days, which is about 2 years and a half. She never lost the NXT Championship, actually. It was vacated when she made her way up to the main roster. And the streak had ended when Charlotte Flair made her submit using the figure 8 leg lock at, I didn't get the specific time, but it was a WrestleMania. I know that. So she is a Japanese wrestler, and most wrestlers who come from Japan have a very hard-hitting, kind of stiff style, which she did, which meant that she utilized kicks and hits as well as submission holds. And her wrestling style, I would say, is by no means flashy. It does the job, and clearly the company had a lot of faith in her. Evidently so, because she was a powerhouse who could not be defeated for a very long time, all the while being a title holder in NXT. As she went on to the main roster, she became a SmackDown's Women's Champion once and a 3-time Raw Women's Champion, and is overall a Grand Slam champion. As of right now this year, she is injured, so she really hasn't made that many appearances. She's lost more than you would expect because of how undefeated she was before. You wouldn't really think that she'd be that hard to conquer over. It's kind of like looking at Gunther at some point. Like, if you looked at him later and say he was just losing all the time, it just really feels weird and doesn't make sense. That's kind of how Asuka was, kind of like the female version of like Gunther in some ways. But I would say, though, that her style switch that she had at the 2023 Royal Rumble was pretty convenient for her. Like, I felt like they really needed to do that. Although I felt like even since she made the change, they didn't really do much with her booking-wise. And by this change, I mean she didn't change her wrestling style at all, really. She just changed her overall appearance and her theme song, which is a good theme song, but nothing like how it used to be. She was a very unique asset to the WWE, as she was marked to be the first female Japanese wrestler that the WWE has ever signed. She has a whole lot of charisma and remarkable wrestling skills, and she is especially impactful because she brought the Japanese style of wrestling to the women's roster. And as for a match recommendation, I would say either both matches she's had with Ember Moon, the first of which was Asuka versus Ember Moon at Brooklyn 3, and Asuka versus Ember Moon at Orlando. Both great matches. I know it seems a tad bit biased because you will see I favor both women, but I genuinely believe that these two are the best NXT female matches ever, period. Like, not just because it's just them, but in general, of all women's matches in NXT, that those two were like the best ones. So, go ahead.
For my first, I would have to say Charlotte Flair. Although she is out due to a torn ACL and MCL and meniscus, she is the 14-time Women's World Champion. She has held the Divas Championship once. She was also a Raw Champion for a record 6 times, and she was the inaugural holder of the SmackDown Women's Champion that she had for 7 times. I like Flair just because, obviously, she has a lot of persona of her father, Ric Flair. I like her athleticism. I like the music. I think she's actually a really good athlete. She does she carries the match well. She's also very good at, respecting the sport. She's, has a lot of discipline in the ring, and I just find her to be very entertaining, and I think she's all-rounded. She's very talented all around. She's a good wrestler. She's good on the mic. She has a good look. The only thing I really don't like is about how her music, kind of like her little music change that she had.
Bow down.
Yeah, I kind of was like,
hey,
that was kind of a little bit lame.
Yeah.
If I was going to sit here and pick a favorite match for Charlotte Flair, it would obviously be WrestleMania 39 when she went up against Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
That's a match I'd recommend. Just a couple of highlights to kind of point out was when the ever famous top rope inverted German suplex that was done on Charlotte Flair was incredible. And basically at the end of it all was where Rhea Ripley did the riptide off the top rope to end up beating Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a match that I would suggest anybody to watch. But yeah, Charlotte Flair, is definitely, although she's injured, I'm looking forward to her coming back.
And actually, that is rumored to be very soon. In November, actually. That's when they're suspecting she will come back.
That's good news to hear.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so my second favorite is Ember Moon, like I mentioned before. She was the woman to take Asuka's NXT championship following it being vacated. Ember Moon, who now goes by Athena, unlike the earlier women's roster, she has impeccable physical strength, I would say, which made her very unique to other women on the card. And she easily dominated most of them. I mean, not Asuka, but she dominated most of them. And essentially because she was also just bigger than most of them. And despite that, she was pretty agile. She was considered a high flyer. I say that she has the it factor. Not only because I thought she was an excellent wrestler, but she also had a cool appearance to her with like the hair color and the contacts. However, though, the only flaw I would say that she had was promo work. She did not really...
That is the kryptonite.
Yeah, she did not really work with crowds very well when it came to promo ability. But that didn't mean that people didn't like her. People really liked her in NXT. I just really respect her wrestling style for the most part because it's not something I see a lot. And I don't want to say this, but like the women's division has been lacking in my personal opinion. And when I look at wrestlers overall, from now until it started in the women's division, I mean, she is definitely a dominant figure in there, despite having not been around for that long, I would say. I mean, a long time, but, arguably we would say, like, she doesn't get nearly as much matches as she should have, and as much attention as she should have. And, dude, the Eclipse, her finisher is a very awesome finisher. Great finisher for a female, too. In particular, like, you just don't really see... I'm not going to name names, but... people... There's certain female wrestlers, or one in general, that we'll talk about in a least favorite wrestlers video, that just doesn't bring the impact in their finisher and is the least convincing when it comes to performing a finisher. And she definitely had the perfect one with the Eclipse, which is essentially she would go on the top rope and basically do like a kind of like a front flip RKO. Like, huh?
It's a front flip to a stunner.
Yeah, to like a stunner. So, yeah. And then for matches, I mean, I would say that the ones between her and Asuka again, and they're simply the best matches both women have had respectively in their careers, and I can't stress it enough. Like, so please watch those matches if you want a good example of good women's wrestling. So go ahead.
I also chose Ember Moon or / Athena, and basically what V was saying is like basically everything I was going to say and agree with. Yeah, the Eclipse is an incredible move, and yeah, she does have that kryptonite that she falls into with like a lot of other wrestlers like Ricochet, where she does not do good promo work, and that is kind of like an important factor in WWE is promo. Like, you've noticed the guys that are the top people, they're all do really well on promo work.
Yeah, you know what, actually, so I went on Reddit because I wanted to see like what people thought about Ember Moon, and someone in there called her the Ricochet of females.
I mean, totally makes sense.
Yeah,
totally makes sense. And I would, not to just repeat a lot of stuff that V was saying, I would just say also the Ember Moon versus Asuka, any of those two matches were incredible. I would like to hope maybe she might come back to WWE, but I mean, she's doing really good in Ring of Honor and all that stuff. So yeah, she is missed though.
For sure.
For sure.
I like Yeah, she was great. I wish. And I feel like the women's division needs it now. I'm going to be honest.
They do.
They need it now.
There's some good ones in NXT, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
maybe
NXT
not main
women's-
roster. Maybe not main roster.
Main
but
roster,
there's
not
a
so
lot
much.
of them that are really like up-and-comers in NXT. And then there's still a few women that haven't even showed up yet.
Right, like Julia,
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes. I mean, I think that's going to be insanely impactful. It's going to be really impactful to that division. It's going to make that division step up when
Yeah.
those two come in.
Well, like when Jordan Grace showed up at the Royal Rumble, not only was it it was a surprise,
Yeah.
but I would say that not only because it was just a surprise that someone from TNA was coming, but just her overall physique and her ability in the ring is
For sure.
something that I just like exactly what I said when we watched it that first time. I said, like, this is like the perfect person to go against Rhea right now, because Rhea is someone that doesn't really have opponents that could really equalize like the match, you know. I
True.
mean, Raquel Rodriguez, I guess you would say, was the closest one because in terms of size, but in terms of actual ability,
I have no
I-
comment on Raquel Rodriguez.
I don't think Raquel has it now than how she used to, and obviously, you know, she's not really here right now,
there,
so
yeah.
it doesn't matter. But speaking of Rhea Ripley, that is actually my third female wrestler of all time. You had to see this one coming.
Sure.
I know you did. There's something like what I was saying before that's so appealing to me when a woman like has the physique and is very strong in the ring. And like again, I'm not gonna name names, but you know who I'm talking about, Dad. I'm not gonna say any names because that's gonna be left for that other dreaded least favorite wrestlers video.
Right.
But Rhea is super strong, and I'd argue she's very versatile in the ring, despite the fact that she typically dominates her opponents. A lot of her matches are essentially squash matches, especially since joining the Judgment Day. I can sympathize with the complaints that people have about her, which is the constant like self-dubbing of being a mommy, and the obvious simps that continue to consume the majority of her fan base, in my opinion. I'm probably one of them, but I don't like it either. I think it's kind of like goofy. I feel like she should just be taken seriously as a wrestler and not just kind of this kind of sex symbol, if I'm being honest, because she does invoke that kind of vibe, I guess I would say. But she is a really good heel. I know you don't agree, but she is pretty great at
I
promos.
agree that she was
no,
a good heel.
no. I'm saying she is a good heel. But
agree
I
with
know
the
you don't
heel.
agree with the next thing I'm going to
Oh,
say
okay.
is that she's good at promos. Compared to the likes of the majority of women who are in the current roster who deliver promos, is she better than Zelina Vega? No, she's not. Zelina Vega is really good at doing promos. But is she better than, let's give an example. Who's an example? The Unholy Union. I'm not going to, I always point fingers at them, but like them.
It's
Becky Lynch, for example.
Oh,
Not good.
She is better
Not
than Becky
good
Lynch,
at
that's for
not
sure.
good at it. Liv
Yeah.
Morgan, I would say, is pretty bad at it too. I just feel like there's times where it's just completely awkward. I would argue that sometimes Rhea is like that too, but I feel more or less than she's not as awkward as Liv, in my opinion. But yeah, she has the look for the heel. She has the story to provide like the heel and now this babyface angle. And I just think she's just really talented, and she's basically the perfect package, which is why I'm not surprised why she's not been fairly defeated since winning the women's championship. And yeah, I respect her strength and how convincing she is as a wrestler. I think the Riptide is a great finisher, and it perfectly encapsulates the strength that she has. And that's why I chose her as my number 3. And I also agree with you. The best match I would consider for Rhea Ripley was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39 for the SmackDown Women's Championship, where Rhea won the title and began her reign of like terror as a winner.
And just to throw in there, I mean, obviously that match was so good because it wasn't Rhea dominating the
right.
entire match.
It was very equal.
It wasn't a squash. Technically a squash match, so like she basically was up against somebody that held her own, so that's what made that match really good.
Right.
So that'd be something definitely for you guys to check out if
Yeah.
you haven't seen it.
And like the reason why we say this match in particular is because it's so equal, and any example of a match that you look at outside of just that one, since Rhea has become champion, you're not going to get the same equal matchup. I would say maybe Nia Jax was the closest thing. But other than that, it was like squash after squash a lot of the time. So it's not really that satisfying when you see her matches like like that, unfortunately, because she doesn't have that many bigger girls to go against. But yeah, go ahead. Number 3.
My final one, actually, I picked Alexa Bliss. I mean, obviously, she has also been out of action. But I did like Alexa Bliss due to the fact that I liked her character in the beginning, though, when she first came onto
not
the
when
scene.
She was
not
with
with
the Wyatt.
not with the Wyatts. But when she came in, you know, it was for her size. I mean, she's very, very small. But she was a very good, she did good promo work. She was good in the ring. She had, like, you know, she was very athletic. Yeah, I think if she, I mean, I'm assuming she's supposed to be returning.
Yeah, they said something like that.
I mean, and I hope that if she does, I hope she kind of goes away from the Wyatt angle, and I think that's probably what's going to happen.
You think so?
I think so.
Really? I don't think
But
so because of the...
I don't see how. I just don't.
No, I don't see how she would fit in, but she definitely make an interaction.
Why isn't Braun Strowman in it? You know what I mean? Like, Braun Strowman could have gone in it.
That's true.
So I mean, since I feel like
Team
if she
Little
goes
Big.
and does her own solo thing, and she kind of goes back to her original kind of, like, you know, character that she had when she first started, I think it's going to be a very big positive for her. If I was going to name a match, I would just probably put the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which was from the Money in the Bank of 2018. This was a stacked lineup. It was Ember Moon, Alexa Bliss, Natalya, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch, Naomi, Lana, and Charlotte Flair.
Damn. Why so many people?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Some highlights, some things that were pretty awesome in the match was Ember Moon landing a somersault senton on Lynch that slammed Banks through a ladder with a springboard dive. The match ended with Bliss performed her Code Red on Flair. Lynch attempted to grab the briefcase, and then it was countered by an exploder suplex that was done on Flair, and Bliss tipped over the ladder for a victory. That one actually, yeah, just based off of the people I named for that match, that obviously you had Ember Moon. I'm going to skip the other remaining ones. You had Naomi and Charlotte Flair.
Jesus.
I mean, I'm kind of looking at the names. Yeah, I mean, it was a good match. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, we'll get into
we'll get into all that other
which
stuff.
ones we don't like.
For sure.
Well, honorable mentions of mine are
Oh, yeah.
yeah
For
the top wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair, I would agree with you. She is a really amazing wrestler. My favorite of the 4 horsewomen, easily,
Yes.
and by far, honestly, second to that would probably be Bayley. Other than that, again, that's for the next video. We'll be talking about that. Io Sky is another honorable mention for me, and also Alexa Bliss. And this may come to a surprise for you, but I really liked Awesome Kong. That's
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
she was great.
Yeah,
She's strong.
Cool. She's cool.
It's exactly the
Yeah.
same examples as
She
what
was
I was
good.
giving. And you know what? I know Jordan Grace is not technically in WWE,
Well, she did technically do
but she did work in WWE.
Yeah, because of the...
I would consider her also one of my favorites of all time for the same reasons of her being very strong. Go ahead.
I also have Io Sky. I also chose... I chose Asuka as well. AJ Lee. I think AJ Lee was really good. I mean, for the Divas, during the Divas time. I mean, obviously... I mean, I look back about it, because it's been a while, but I mean, I look back at it. I mean, she seemed like she had like a good persona. The little skip when she came down the ring was, you know, something that was very entertaining and, you know, people would like.
Yeah, and for the women's division not being so big and also
Yeah.
a little bit harder to be to impress a crowd, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
She was very good
She
at what
was.
she did.
These are two that are kind of hilarious. I not hilarious, but like I think so. Molly Holly, when she was Mighty Holly, was pretty hilarious. I thought that was pretty funny. The haircut and everything,
Yeah.
and then, you know, the
cape.
cape. And, you know, she just seemed like, you know, she was a good worker. And this one here, I don't know how many people even remember this wrestler, but I do because of the theme song, and that is Bertha Faye. If anybody doesn't remember Bertha Faye, she was kind of a heavier set girl, and not very attractive, but she had like a love interest, and that was Harvey Whippleman. And
Very skinny white
very
dude.
skinny guy with glasses, and it was hilarious. Now, she wasn't very mobile in the ring. She couldn't move around a lot, but The character was just top notch gold. I mean, if you had her now, she would be a big deal. I think people would be rooting for her. I mean, of course, it was a different time, but
Right.
listen to her song if you ever have a chance. Yeah, that was my notable mention.
All right. Now we're gonna be moving on to our current roster favorites. This is gonna be very short. We're not gonna give no background or
Yeah.
anything like that. Short.
The ones
My-
that we think are doing really good job at the
Exactly.
moment, yeah.
Right now. See, now I would switch mine around a bit, but I'm just gonna leave it from how I have it. But Rhea Ripley is my number one. Like I said, this is this is our first video of talking about this, so I'm not gonna limit it to just this year. But the entire time, like I was mentioning before, Rhea Ripley, since winning the championship, even before then she was dominant, but since winning the championship from Charlotte Flair and stuff, she has been on a roll. Story with wrestling, with everything, and like when we did the previous current roster favorites, I did rank my favorites by kind of the most activity, who's had the most stuff going on, and Gunther was number one for me. So I kind of treat Rhea the same, where she has had the most amount of I guess work and
I mean,
promo
obviously.
and wrestling compared to the other people I have. But yeah, she's really great. I feel like she's kind of at a standstill right now, kind of because I'm not really digging the whole team up with Damian right now. This is just me, but I do think she's a great wrestler, and I do think that there's more left in store for her past this point. So do you want me to go down a list, or
You want to switch off or what?
you want to switch off?
Yeah, I guess
Okay, go ahead.
so. Okay, for mine, I would actually say Piper Niven. Even though, I mean, she's not really in a lot of action. She's pretty much kind of like on the side with Chelsea Green. And, they're doing the little backstage kind of commentary work. I think Piper Niven should be getting the Bronson Reed treatment, to be honest. I think she should be the Bronson Reed of the women's division, where she's going and dominating all these people in that division. She's very talented. When she was Dewdrop, she was awesome. When she was Dewdrop, she almost had, I think she even had a championship when she was about to have a title. She had a title match. But, I mean, I think Piper Niven is definitely, I think they need to be doing more with her.
I
to be
really
honest.
wish from the night of the Clash at the Castle that she could have beat Bailey. It was right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
It would have been.
Oh yeah, right. My bad. My second favorite of the current roster is Tiffany Stratton. She's just a great wrestler. We followed her since back in her NXT days. When we first saw her, we were like, damn, like she's gonna be big when she comes to the main roster. And yep, I mean basically she is. She won Money in the Bank immediately. Even more immediately, she was in the Elimination Chamber like not long after she just came in, and she was the star of that match too. There's not much left to say. I'm really excited to see when she cashes in, most likely on Nia. But yeah, I'm excited. She's great. I think she's all rounder. She's good at promo work too. She's funny, and her character is very unique to the wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the standard of I guess right now, where more girls are kind of the more like I'm tough, I'm gonna beat you up kind of thing. You can't get me. But she's like that, but she's more bratty about it and sassy. That's what makes Chelsea Green so great as well.
True.
Yeah.
And I also have Tiffany Stratton as well. I mean, just basically what V said is true. I mean, she is the total package. She's a good athlete. She's good in the ring. She has a good promo work. She has a good look. I mean, everything that's going on with her, yeah, she is going to definitely be a star. I think that she's one of those people that can bring up the women's division.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, obviously I mentioned some others that are up-and-comers that are coming that are still going to bring it up to a different level as well. But, yeah, I think Tiffany Stratton will be one of the people at the head of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of up-and-comers someone from NXT that will definitely make the women's division a lot better, Sol Ruca is my third. I know she's probably your third too,
Yeah,
right?
she
Yeah.
is.
Dude, I mean, that first debut match, she was doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of flips. The Soul Snatcher is amazing. That's a great move.
Very good move.
That DDT that she does, she hasn't
The cartwheel?
done it. Yeah, the cartwheel DDT thing. She hasn't
From the
done
rope.
it often. Yeah, she does it from the top rope. She does a cartwheel off the top rope
To a
and gets you into a
DDT.
DDT.
Yeah.
She doesn't do that move often. I think she's only done it twice and maybe like attempted it once and it didn't happen.
Mhm.
But no, she has a great move set. I think she's very skilled in what she does. She's been in championship matches pretty early on to when she debuted here, like in NXT. Basically, I just think that she has what it takes. Obviously, she's still young and she's still new, so it's gonna take a while for her to even get to the main roster. But I do think that she's qualified for it already. But that's not to brush anything. That's just me saying that I think she's ready in general.
I'm just not a fan of her song.
I love her song.
I don't like the surfer thing, but I get it, and it's fine. I don't know if that's something that's going to sustain when she goes up to the main roster. I don't know if that's something they're going to keep.
Mm.
I think maybe that's a possibility they can get changed. In some ways, maybe not a good idea. But yeah, she's an incredible athlete. I mean, I feel like again, she will be one of those people that is going to bring the women's division to a higher level. I think she's definitely got that. If she stays healthy, though.
Right.
That's
right.
the thing.
That's happened to a lot of notable females on NXT. Definitely a lot of ACL tears.
Yes.
In the history of like
them.
women, like Cora Jade currently,
Nikita Lyons. Yeah.
In the
Twice.
past too, like both of them twice.
Yeah.
In the past too, like Rhea Ripley went against that Tegan Nox and she tore her ACL immediately, and it wasn't even that Rhea did a splash onto her over the top rope and onto the floor, but it didn't even look like she could even possibly did that, but it happened. So it's very common for a lot of women, especially in NXT. I don't know if there's a curse or what. God forbid anything happens to anybody else, especially Sol Ruca right now, because she is technically more important on the card than she used to be. There was like a weird period of her not really showing up at all after the North American Championship ladder match at the Heat Wave, I believe it was. Yeah. So honorable mentions. Here are my honorable mentions for current roster favorites. Piper Niven, as you said, I respect her because of her strength and her ability in the ring. She's very agile despite her size. And
she's good on the mic.
She's good on the mic.
Yeah,
yes, I was going to say that.
That
Yeah,
should be the formula that you guys should be going
good
with.
on the mic.
That's how they usually go.
Mi Chin. That's she's a great wrestler too. I mean, on the mic, she's good.
She's not bad.
But wrestling wise, she's great, and I like that they're giving her more opportunities this year, which is very nice. Shayna Baszler, I really like Shayna. Shayna's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion. She's great. I'm definitely someone who favors the submission and very hard hitting kind of style of wrestling. And she definitely has that.
But that brawler mentality only peaks to a certain point, and then after that, there's
yeah,
not much
like
you
right
can
now,
do.
she's definitely not in a good position, I would say.
Because I mean, she is a good wrestler.
She's a good
and she's a
wrestler.
great athlete, but I mean, you can't really go farther than that.
I would also say Zoe Stark would be packed in there too, just because they're also a team and they have very similar fighting styles. Those are two really skilled wrestlers, but I don't feel like they're put with good opponents. In my opinion, they definitely shined. I felt like they shined at the Clash at the Castle and the triple threat match against Jade Cargill, Bianca, and the Unholy Union. I felt like they were definitely the ones who were doing the most, and the most risky moves, and just the most hitting of all. Well, sure,
Yeah.
but I felt like out of all of them, they were definitely the best. Lash Legend from NXT, I think she's great too. She's very strong as well. She's very skilled in the ring. She's fast. I mean, and she's got good promo work. I think she's hilarious,
She's
dude.
hilarious.
Like interrupting people, and I thought she's great. And the story with her and Trick is funny. I know they're real life partners, so I thought that was extra great that they're actually together. Io Sky is another one. She hasn't been seen that much, I felt like, lately since losing to Bayley at WrestleMania, but she is still a really great wrestler, and I won't ignore that. And lastly, I would say Zelina Vega. Honestly, she doesn't get great matches with like good opponents, especially because she's so small, but she's great on the mic, and I also think she's still a good wrestler, even if she doesn't have the right opponent with her. So yeah, that's it for honorable mentions. For
I
me.
actually also picked Michin. I mean, obviously what V was saying is true. She's great. I think and I'm glad that she's being pushed. Lash Legend was another one I also thought as well. Same thing what V was saying. She's a powerhouse. She has a great promo. She cuts good promos. I also said Zoe Stark as well. I think Zoe Stark is actually somebody that can actually she'll become better over time, and I think she's going to be someone that's going to be one of the top people, unless injuries or whatever. One person I also I put, there's Chelsea Green. I think Chelsea Green's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think her entire character and the promo work she does is great. Wrestling wise, I mean,
we haven't seen much of it.
Not much, but I mean, she's kind of like she kind of has that angle of kind of like the methodical, kind of like plays mind games type person. She's not like a straight up
but like
wrestler.
she's kind of like ditzy in a way where it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I mean she has a great character work. She has a great character. I even also was going to say Bianca, even though she's doing this whole thing with Jade and the tag team thing. Bianca, when she first came into, even when she was in NXT, she was good. When she came into the main roster, dude, she was dominant. When she won the Royal Rumble, I was even saying like, dude, she's gonna. When she came out, I was telling V, I was saying like, dude, right there, that's the person that's gonna win this.
That was my pick too, and
right, it was her pick. But I mean, I was saying this is the person that's gonna win this.
Yeah, I agree. Now that you mentioned Bianca, I almost forgot.
Bianca's good, man. I mean, she has good promo. Her look is cool.
She's strong.
She's very strong.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I kind of would like to see her kind of go on more of a solo thing.
Yeah, I would hope so
but
too.
I understand why she's doing what she's doing right now.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, that's it for all of our favorite females. Next year we'll, if this is still going by next year, we'll definitely talk about females that we like in that year. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, it's kind of short, but I guess we'll talk about the issues we have, I guess, in another video. That won't be for, I don't think, well, it will definitely not be for next week. Next week, we're going to be doing our predictions for Bash in Berlin, since that's coming next Saturday. And we'll have a little mini segment in that same video for the No Mercy. Predictions. So, yeah, look forward to that. And then, our recap will come out tomorrow. And, yeah, following those weeks, we still have to talk about our favorite tag teams, our favorite factions, matches of all time, theme songs.
You should also do like a favorite managers.
Oh, managers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm down. I already know who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it for today. Let us know what you guys think of our opinions who's your favorite.
Who's your favorite woman wrestler currently or of all time?
So hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow for tomorrow's recap episode. So, yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.